In this podcast episode, hosts Alexis and Jonathan Cohen engage in an in-depth conversation with Dr. Michael Levin, a distinguished biologist and computer scientist at Tufts University and director of the Allen Discovery Center. Dr. Levin shares groundbreaking insights into the body's bioelectrical systems, revealing how they open new pathways for reprogramming cells, understanding cancer from a novel perspective, promoting limb regeneration, and expanding our conception of intelligence beyond the brain. The discussion bridges science with spirituality, exploring how biological intelligence operates across multiple levels, from cells to organs, and how this knowledge challenges traditional boundaries in medicine and consciousness. Dr. Levin begins by transforming the conventional understanding of the human body into a complex collective intelligence system. He explains that we are not indivisible monads, but composites of countless cells that process information, make decisions, and solve problems collaboratively. This cognitive glue, primarily facilitated by bioelectrical signaling, enables the organism to maintain larger goal states, such as developing specific anatomical structures, much beyond what any single cell can comprehend. He traces the evolutionary origins of this bioelectrical network back to bacterial biofilms, where ion channels and electrical synapses allowed primitive cells to cooperate. These bioelectrical signals form integrated networks, allowing cells to share thoughts, memories, and goals that sustain unified body patterns. The unique integration of cells into this larger system maintains what he terms the cognitive light cone, representing the biggest scale goal any system, be it cellular or human, can pursue. One of the most revolutionary perspectives Dr. Levin offers is the reconceptualization of cancer, not simply as rogue cell proliferation, but as a dissociative identity disorder of the body. In this framework, cancer cells disconnect electrically from the bioelectrical network that holds the body's anatomical goals together. Once separated, these cells revert to the unicellular mindset of their ancient ancestors, prioritizing local survival and unregulated growth, forming tumors and metastases. This disconnect causes cancer cells to lose memory of their participation in the organism's collective goal, viewing the rest of the body as mere environment to exploit. Unlike traditional approaches focused on killing cancer cells through chemotherapy, Dr. Levin's research suggests it might be possible to reestablish their electrical connectivity, coaxing them back into coherent, goal-aligned behavior without toxic interventions. His lab develops technologies using voltage-sensitive fluorescent dyes to non-invasively read and map the bioelectrical states of tissues, identifying aberrant electrical patterns that correlate with tumor formation. They then manipulate ion channels to reset the electrical environment, restoring normal function. Early work in frog embryos shows promising results in tumor normalization, suggesting a future where cancer treatment might focus on reprogramming rather than destruction. Dr. Levin reveals that the body's shape and anatomical structure are encoded in stable bioelectrical patterns, akin to memories stored in tissue. His lab demonstrates this vividly through experiments on flatworms, planaria, capable of regenerating entire body parts. Remarkably, if a worm's head is removed, it grows a new one that remembers prior conditioning and learning, even though the original brain is lost. Further, he explains that by deliberately rewriting bioelectrical patterns without altering the genome, his team can induce planaria to regenerate two heads or to grow the heads of other species, suggesting that electrical patterning serves as a kind of anatomical compiler that guides cells toward target body plans. This shifts the paradigm from a purely genetic instruction model to one where bioelectric signals represent a higher-level control over gene expression and morphology. The implication is transformative. Regenerative medicine can potentially evolve from stem cells and gene editing into a field focused on bioelectrical communication and control, offering a path to human limb regeneration, repairing birth defects, and overcoming degenerative diseases by guiding the body's intrinsic shape memory. The conversation expands into the biological basis of trauma, integrating Dr. Levin's expertise with contemporary understandings from neuroscience and psychology. He notes that physiological and behavioral information is transmitted non-locally across the body via bioelectric patterns and molecular signals. For example, in animals like planaria, body-wide information about injury or learning is stored and propagated even after the physical destruction of the brain. Dr. Levin highlights that a short, transient physiological event can permanently alter the bioelectrical state of tissue, resulting in lasting structural and behavioral changes. This offers a mechanistic explanation for how trauma could keep the score within the body's electrical networks, encoding persistent maladaptive states not solely attributable to the brain. He is currently exploring whether similar strategies used to reestablish bioelectrical patterns in cancer and regeneration can be adapted to rewrite traumatic imprints in tissues or organs, potentially offering new therapeutic avenues for trauma healing and aging-related decline. An intriguing part of the dialogue centers on linking Dr. Levin's scientific work to spiritual and philosophical traditions such as Buddhism. He introduces the concept of care with a capital C as a fundamental principle that underlies goal-directed behavior across scales, from molecular to organismal. Dr. Levin emphasizes that intelligence and cognition exist on a spectrum, not confined to brains or nervous systems. Cells, organs, and molecular networks possess problem-solving capabilities, memory, and the ability to pursue goals. This challenges the anthropocentric view of mind and suggests that consciousness-like properties could be manifest at multiple biological levels. He further discusses the cognitive light cone of compassion, theorizing that beings can be classified by the spatial and temporal scope of their goals and caring capacity, from bacteria to humans and potentially beyond. This model reframes compassion as an active cognitive function that scales with one's embeddedness in collective intelligence, linking it to evolutionary and biological origins. This merging of biology, philosophy, and spirituality offers a fresh lens through which to understand health, healing, and even interspecies and interintelligence communication. Dr. Levin critiques the human tendency toward mind blindness, the limited ability to recognize non-animal forms of intelligence due to strict heuristics shaped by evolution. He warns that intelligence extends to cellular networks, organs, and even complex molecular pathways, many of which do not resemble the brain-centric model traditionally associated with cognition. He calls for a massive shift in perspective and humility in developing criteria for detecting intelligence, emphasizing that we will need to expand our notions as AI grows and as we eventually encounter unconventional terrestrial intelligences, or even extraterrestrial ones. His upcoming research and technology aim to create communication interfaces that allow dialogue with these diverse biological and synthetic intelligences, recognizing that they may manifest in forms radically different from humans but are nevertheless cognitive systems. The conversation turns to the visionary, but not far-off possibility of real-time, bidirectional communication interfaces with our own organs and cells. Dr. Levin and his team are developing non-invasive tools that read and manipulate bioelectrical states using optical and molecular technologies. He imagines a future where wearable or implantable devices connect through smartphones, allowing users to query their liver or pancreas about their status, to identify nutrient deficiencies or cellular stress, and to apply targeted interventions like electrical stimulation or pharmacology. Instead of passive monitoring, this interface would be an active dialogue, translating complex physiological states into comprehensible information. Such a system represents a leap beyond current functional medicine or blood tests by integrating multi-scale bioelectric information to provide detailed, personalized health insights and open new treatment fronts. While acknowledging that these technologies are still in early stages, Dr. Levin offers optimism about their development timeline, generally within a couple of decades or less. Small-scale laboratory models, such as frogs in planaria, provide proofs of concept that can be engineered into practical devices. He also cautions about scientific humility regarding exact dates and emphasizes that miniaturization, cost, and engineering integration will be significant hurdles, but ultimately solvable. The hosts and Dr. Levin discuss the societal and ethical implications of such advancements, including freedom of embodiment, the idea that future humans should have the ability to design and reshape their own bodies, overcoming genetic limitations, birth defects, and the biological imperfections shaped by evolution. Dr. Levin paints a future where regenerative medicine transcends disease treatment, reaching a point where people can compile customized anatomies, regenerating or augmenting organs and limbs according to individual desires and needs. This vision pushes beyond simply restoring lost function to a world where embodiment is chosen and engineered, redefining what it means to be human. He acknowledges the complex ethical, social, and political questions this raises, including issues of access and inequality, but underscores that the scientific foundation for such transformations, from cancer treatment to limb regeneration, is rapidly solidifying. The episode ends on a hopeful, boundary-expanding note that integrates deep biological science, computer science, and even spiritual inquiry into a cohesive framework for the near future. Throughout the episode, Dr. Levin's personal story and approach humanize the complicated science. Living with his wife, children, and parents in a multi-generational household emphasizes a non-Western cultural model of success and collaboration. His upbringing involved an immersion in both Russian and American contexts, technical exploration with his father, and an early curiosity about biology and technology shaped by family and environment. The hosts also highlight his nuanced ability to navigate complex scientific ideas while remaining open to intersectional perspectives from traditional healing systems, spirituality, and energy medicine, respecting their historical wisdom while bringing empirical rigor. Dr. Levin touches on artificial intelligence, emphasizing the need to rethink the interaction between biological minds and mechanical computation. He argues that the classical models of computation do not fully capture intelligence, even at simple algorithmic levels, urging caution about anthropomorphizing AI or underestimating cognitive phenomena in non-traditional substrates. He advocates a broadening of the intelligence concept, addressing the challenges of distinguishing genuine minds from simulations or dumb machines, and warning against exclusionary attitudes, especially as cyborg technologies and human augmentation advance. Finally, he reiterates the challenge of recognizing alien or radically different life forms, biological, synthetic, or otherwise, and encourages exploration without binary assumptions about mind, body, and consciousness. The podcast touches on traditional Chinese medicine and other ancient healing frameworks that intuitively describe the body as an integrated energy or intelligence system. The hosts and Dr. Levin acknowledge these traditions' conceptual parallels with modern bioelectrical and information theoretic approaches, recognizing convergences despite methodological differences. They suggest that emerging technologies may eventually provide empirical tools to validate, refine, and interface with these energetic understandings, fostering collaboration between ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science to enhance health and human experience. Dr. Levin introduces the idea of diverse intelligences and the search for unconventional terrestrial intelligence, SUI, exploring methods to communicate with intelligences radically unlike human cognition. Using analogies like playing tic-tac-toe with an alien that understands only arithmetic, he illustrates the fundamental challenge, establishing shared protocols with beings whose internal representations may be inscrutable. He draws parallels to the effort to talk to cells or tissues, both requiring careful development of common languages and interfaces that transcend anthropocentric limitations to foster meaningful exchange. Concluding the scientific discussion, Dr. Levin explains how brief biochemical or electrical interventions can induce lasting anatomical changes, such as forcing toothed planaria to propagate themselves indefinitely without genetic modification. This demonstrates that informational patterns embedded in bioelectric states, not DNA changes, govern morphological outcomes, supporting the concept of the body as a programmable system. This discovery suggests that relatively simple interventions can rewrite the body's structural memory, with vast implications for medicine, ethology, and even consciousness. Finally, Dr. Levin highlights that the implications of this work go far beyond individuals to species-level longevity and evolution. He argues that extending human life and well-being involves understanding and manipulating multi-level biological information systems, from molecules and cells to tissues, organs, and entire organisms. He envisions a future where humans actively participate in guiding their biology's trajectory, supported by new technologies, deeper scientific understanding, and a broadened framework of compassion and intelligence that integrates material and immaterial aspects of life.